The purpose of this poll was to get that article in Politico so that they can go around and go, hey, you want to block progressives? You want to stop the squad? Corporate PACs, oil companies, Wall Streeters, give us money. We're fighting the squad and we've got a real contender. That's what the purpose of this poll is.
Let's maul in the Central Committee. Let's cringe in the Central Committee. Let's fog in the Central Committee right now.
Let's hop into the next story that I haven't been talking about yet, which is the Nina Turner race out in Ohio. Didn't somebody make a video about Nina Turner that I was going to critique? Many people on Twitter are posting Nina Turner isn't really for Medicare for All. It's so horrible they're saying these ignorant things about her. We need her to win. If Nina Turner isn't really for Medicare for All, then nobody is. Anybody who attacks Nina Turner is absolutely an op. That's an actual op. Oh, here it is. It's the Humanist Report.
So if you'll recall, back in May, we talked about an internal poll from Nina Turner's campaign, and it showed that she had a 35-point lead over her closest opponent. She had over 50% of the vote. But I cautioned everyone back then, if you'll remember this, I said, look, just because things are looking good now doesn't mean that things won't change. Because the establishment, the Democratic Party, they're seeing the same poll that we're all seeing. So all this is going to do is catalyze an all-out war against Nina Turner. And that's exactly what happened. Lobbyists came out in droves to try to stop Nina Turner. Hillary Clinton, Jim Clyburn all came out to stop Nina Turner. And guess what? The establishment's war on Nina Turner is working. It is very successful because now a new internal poll from her opponent shows that her lead has shrunk drastically. And now is the time to panic, folks. So all
right. So number one, it's time to panic, folks, is just dead wrong. That's just dead wrong. Let's look what the opposition poll, what they put out. And then we'll talk about campaigns. Now, I've been on a campaign before. I have written memos like this. I know what a memo on a poll looks like that goes to the press. I know what one that's dishonest looks like when it goes to the press. So are you ready? Let's take a look. Does this count as a serious poll that we can trust discussing this issue? Is this like a real thing? Should we, quote, panic? All right, so Normington Pets. I've never heard of them. Maybe they're big. Pets was part of the 2016 Hillary for America polling team. He conducted polling in nearly a dozen congressional races on behalf of numerous independent expenditures, including the DCCC and House Majority PAC. He was also the pollster for Pennsylvania Treasurer Joe Torsella, who lost. In 2010, he polled for the DGA's independent expenditure races in Connecticut and Rhode Island. In 2014, he conducted polling on behalf of Pennsylvania, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. All right, so this guy is about... So this organization is as mainstream Dem as you can be. This is the Democratic establishment. I wouldn't even call this the right wing. I would call this the Democratic establishment. This is the Democratic Jason Kander. Yeah. So this is the Democratic Party. Okay. The following is a summary of findings from a live interview. So now that I've learned, I've never interacted with them, which makes sense because they're the Democratic establishment and they would only be for the most right-wing or centrist candidate. In the special election in Ohio's 11th congressional district, Cuyahoga Democratic chair and councilwoman Shontel Brown has all the momentum as what is turning out to be a two-woman race. Okay, so chat, how to read things 101, how to read critically. This sentence is exactly the message that Shontel Brown's campaign wants you to spread. Shontel Brown's race campaign wants you to say they have all the momentum and this is a two-woman race. Why? Because Shontel Brown has no name recognition and they need the media to hype her up for her to have a chance. How do I know this? We're going to get to the name ID thing later. We're going to go to the name ID thing later. The very next sentence. In April, Brown had just 36% name identification, a stark contrast to the very well-known former state senator and Bernie Sanders campaign chair Nina Turner, who enjoyed a 71% recognition level. Turner spent early on TV and mail in a failed attempt to lock down the electorate. She succeeded in raising her name ID 18 points, up to 89. On the other hand, Brown waited to hit mailboxes and air ads until she could sustain communications for the duration of the campaign. What they're actually saying is, Brown had no money. Nina Turner was the overwhelming frontrunner, and Brown didn't have money. And then all of a sudden, spontaneously, the mainstream Democratic Party in Washington, led by Hillary Clinton, intervened in the race to provide a whole bunch of helicopter cash to Shontel Brown from D.C. Why? To stop Nina Turner. The Democratic Party, the mainstream Democratic Party, Bernie Sanders is the enemy of. They're there to stop anybody who supports Bernie or any progressive. The Democratic Party personally intervened in this race. That's what they're trying to tell you. Since April, her recognition level has more than doubled to 77%. None of the other candidates has seen any growth in recognition levels. Why? Because they didn't get any helicopter money. Shontel Brown was unknown, and the Democratic Party decided to helicopter her with money. Shontel Brown has closed the gap on the huge initial lead that Nina Turner once enjoyed. After more than a month of communication, Brown has gained 29 points and Turner just 1, while the other candidates in the race are losing support. Brown picked up support from previously undecided voters and converted voters who were with several of the other candidates in the race. Shontel Brown made equal-sized gains among both black and white voters across the ideological spectrum and among all education levels. Her increase in support is significantly higher among voters age 45 and older, who comprise nearly 80% of the special election primary electorate. In the closing weeks of this campaign, voters are turning this into a two-person race, and Shontel Brown has all the momentum. So basically what's happening here is Shontel Brown was nobody, and she's getting all the soft support money can buy. That's what's happening. Everybody would understand. There's no reason to panic, number one. Why? Because this is soft money. This is the Bloomberg vote. This is the percentage of people in the Democratic primary that will watch a television ad and say, I'm voting for that person I just saw on the TV. Now, that's a very important number of people, but it's not an actual way to win a fucking primary campaign. Does that mean that we should be concerned? You absolutely should be concerned. You absolutely should be putting everything you can into helping Nina Turner. But you don't. If you're a progressive, can you be smarter than to just repeat exactly what her campaign wants you to say? So let's go and watch this video. I have nothing against Mike, but come on, man.
Poll from her opponent shows that her lead has shrunk drastically, and now is the time to panic, folks. So as Ali Mutnick of Politico explains, Nina Turner opened an early lead in this summer's hotly contested Ohio special election, but the progressive heavyweight might not be running away with it.
She's not running away with it because the Democratic Party is attacking her. The Democratic Party doesn't want her to win. The Democratic Party is putting their finger on the scale. Normally, what would happen in a race like this is the Democratic Party would say, well, there's one very strong candidate, so we're just going to tell everybody that they're the person. A former state senator that's raising millions of dollars in a congressional district against a nobody, the Democratic Party would normally just go, that's the congressperson. But because Nina Turner's on the left, that's not what's happening. Because Nina Turner's a progressive, the Democratic Party is marshaling their scarce resources to try to target her and beat her. That's the message you actually need to watch.
Internal poll by her top competitor, Cuyahoga County Democratic Chair Shontel Brown, suggests the Democratic Party race has tightened. In the survey conducted in early July, Turner led with 43%, followed by Brown with 36%. That 7-point gap is a much closer spread than earlier polling from both candidates. An April survey from Brown's campaign found her trailing Turner by 32 points, 42% to 10%, and Turner's late May poll showed her with 50% of the vote, up 35 points over Brown. But now she is 7 points behind Nina Turner. That is a huge...
Okay, so going back to the memo, going back to the actual memo, we don't know what this is. We actually don't know. So is this a top line number? Is this a before or after information? What kind of poll is this? Is this a tracker? Is this on? So it was primary special election voters. Respondents were matched on both landlines and mobile phones. Interviews were conducted July 6th to 8th, 2021. The sampling error for this survey is 4.9%. So basically what we have here is an extremely quick and dirty poll. And I think it's a tracker based on what they're saying, with a huge margin of error. And it also has a likely voter screen. So we have no information on this. I can't provide you any analysis of this thing because they didn't give us anything. They didn't give us anything. I can't take a look at what they're likely. There's no age breakdowns. There's no information. Huge margin of error. To pretend like you know what the race is, to go, it's down to 7, is absurd and not legitimate.
Swing. So if she made up that much of a gap, she can easily surpass Nina Turner within a few more weeks. So it is...
Absolutely not. Easily surpassed in a few more weeks is wrong. Nina Turner, Chantel Brown was nobody. Chantel Brown had no name recognition. She got a bunch of easy gains. This is Bloomberg all over again. This is the Bloomberg people. They ran up her name recognition by doing a bunch of positive stuff about Chantel Brown and negative stuff on Nina. Nina had the position of being a well-known figure with a lot of support and money and grassroots. So people have opinions about Nina. And those opinions are not going to be shaken off with just a couple weeks of ads. They had no opinions about Chantel Brown. So now that Chantel Brown was been selected by the Democratic Party, Nina Turner has to go to work defining and identifying who Chantel Brown is to those voters. Because all they're going to hear, unless Nina Turner does something about it, is positive message about Chantel Brown and negative messages around Nina. That's it.
Panic time. And if
does this video offer any value given the polls are legitimate? I'm not saying the polls are legitimate. And I have no doubt that Chantel Brown has picked up some votes. But the idea that you should panic based on something that was entirely predictable is completely absurd.
We're previously sitting out this race.
It looks like this poll was done to give a perception that Brown might be a contender. You got it. Anastasia, you got it. The purpose of this poll is to convince more people in D.C. who hate Bernie Sanders to invest more money into this race. That's what the purpose of this poll is. The purpose of this poll was to get that article in Politico so that they can go around and go, hey, you want to block progressives? You want to stop the squad? Corporate PACs, oil companies, Wall Streeters, give us money. We're fighting the squad and we've got a real contender. That's what the purpose of this poll is.
It's because it's Nina
Be
Turner
smarter
and she's
about
a political behemoth. She has more money and name recognition. Now is the time to not take this race for granted. Now is the time to...
I agree with him. Don't take the race for granted. Nina Turner could lose. It is possible. The race hasn't, the votes haven't come in yet.
Get involved. Donate anything if you can, even a buck or two. Support Nina Turner on the ground. Phone bank. Everything that you can possibly do to help Nina Turner, now is the time to do it, because I'm telling you folks, the Democratic Party establishment isn't just going to allow her to walk to victory. I knew that when that gigantic lead was released, that was the beginning of the end of her status of just basically coasting. And it's not like she wasn't already fighting hard for this, but it's no longer going to be an easy fight. Now it's going to be a really difficult battle to try to overcome the entire Democratic Party and corporate establishment. Now, to show you what Nina Turner is up against, outright lies. So this race, Nina Turner has basically been running on Medicare for All because it's very popular in this heavy Democratic Party leaning district. So what are they doing now to counter that? Since her opponent doesn't support Medicare for All, they're just lying about Nina Turner's position, and they're implying that she doesn't actually support Medicare for All. So Ryan Grimm shared this mailer that was sent out by DMFI, which is Democratic Majority for Israel PAC, and it's a mailer that tries to...
By the way, chat, I want to show you the DMFI ad. I want to show you who these scumbags are. Are you ready?
The most important thing is we have to beat Trump.
We've seen the damage that Trump and the Republican Congress have done.
I doubt if Bernie Sanders can beat Trump.
I like Bernie. I think he has great ideas. But Michigan, Pennsylvania, Iowa, They're just not going to vote for a socialist.
I do have some concerns about Bernie Sanders' health, considering the fact that he did have a heart attack.
I think it's very important that the Democrats nominate somebody that can beat Trump.
I don't feel as though Bernie Sanders would do well against Donald Trump.
I just don't think Bernie can beat Trump.
DMFI PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Considering the fact that he did have a heart attack. Considering the fact that he did have a heart attack. Considering the fact that he did have a heart attack.
I think it's very important that the Democrats nominate somebody that can beat Trump.
I don't feel as though Bernie Sanders would do well against Donald Trump.
I just don't think Bernie can beat Trump.
So this was the message that was... So DMFI PAC is basically the Democratic Party establishment. It's the Democratic majority for Israel, by the way, if you want to know what DMFI means. These people are pure scum. Joe Biden has had 2 brain aneurysms. Not 1, but 2. How many ads did you hear? I don't think Joe Biden can last the full 8 years with his fucking wonky brain aneurysms. Unless you were watching this channel, you probably didn't even know he had brain aneurysms because literally nobody talked about it. Also, notice that this is, by the way, this is completely focus group tested. I want to play this again. This is focus group tested.
The most important thing is we have to beat Trump.
And we've seen the damage that Trump and the Republican Congress have done.
I doubted Bernie Sanders.
So there you go. Most important thing is beating Trump. Every Democrat agreed with that. No matter how left you were, beating Trump was our number 1 priority, right? Got to get the fascist out of office, right? And then immediately into the pre-existing media narrative.
I doubted Bernie Sanders can beat Trump.
I like Bernie. I think he has great ideas.
I doubt Bernie Sanders can beat Trump. And then to make sure, because a lot of people like Bernie, they might get offended. So you've got to go back.
I like Bernie. I think he has great...
Oh, I like Bernie. I think he has great ideas. Because 80+% of the Democratic Party base likes Bernie Sanders and they like his ideas. They like him because of his ideas. And then here comes the fact-free attack.
Great ideas. But Michigan, Pennsylvania, Iowa, they're just not going to vote for a socialist.
They're just not going to vote for a socialist. Some guy's opinion. What the fuck are you talking about? Iowa didn't vote for Biden. Biden got destroyed. Pennsylvania, Michigan, Iowa, not going to vote for a socialist. Well, they didn't vote for Joe. Now, Pennsylvania did. Michigan did. Bernie Sanders was beating the shit out of Trump in Michigan and Pennsylvania. Just absolutely destroying him in the polls. Where is this guy's fact-free assertion comes from? It's because it's a focus group tested attack. They test a bunch of attacks against Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is a socialist. Bernie Sanders is not a strong supporter of Israel. Bernie Sanders wants a $15 minimum wage. Bernie Sanders wants to raise taxes on the rich. They try all this shit. None of it sticks. Did you know Bernie Sanders once thought that immigration should not be, we should not adopt the Koch brothers' proposal for immigration? Bernie Sanders support went up. So the only thing they could come up with was Bernie Sanders might not beat Trump. He's very radical. And that, by the way, was not a test of would you vote for Bernie or would you vote for Trump. This is not a factual assertion. This is a what attack makes people who like Bernie not vote for him. The answer is Bernie Sanders might lose to Trump. But here's the thing, chat. That works for everybody. If you start spreading the message that Joe Biden's going to lose to Trump, and that's on MSNBC 24/7, ooh, Joe Biden's, his speech impediment. Ooh, if you did that, first of all, that would be ableist as fuck. But if you started spreading messages like that, people would start well, I've heard that a lot of swing voters in Pennsylvania don't like the way Joe talks. You could just make some, whatever vile lie you want. And because it's not your opinion, like you're not saying you wouldn't vote for Bernie, you're just saying you're worried about someone else. It's totally fucking irrefutable because the person that you're supposedly worried about isn't in the room. I can't talk to that person. I can't go, hey, Pennsylvania voter, why aren't you voting for Bernie? Can we have a talk? That person's not in the room. Your made up opinion is about some straw man that doesn't exist. Focus group tested attack.
I do have some concerns about
Socialist, thanks for gifting us up.
The fact that he did have a heart attack.
I think it's very important that the Democrats nominate somebody that
Found
can
a young woman to say that. Found a young woman to say that because Bernie Sanders support is overwhelmingly young. So they put that disgusting vile attack in the mouth of a young woman. Darby Holdroyd is government affairs and public policy intern at the Greater Des Moines Partnership. Government affairs and public policy intern. Huh. Greater Des Moines is a community that invests in itself, that is powered by multinational corporations, and also supports small, locally owned businesses. The Greater Des Moines Partnership will champion the DSM USA message and encourages its 24 affiliate chapters and more than 6,500 regional business members, 365 investors, DSM USA ambassadors to help share the region's story with one voice. Is the Economic and Community Development Organization that serves Greater Des Moines, Iowa. I want to know so much more about this shit. So some corporate mouthpiece. Chamber of Commerce, we found it. So they got the Government Affairs and Public Policy intern, Darby, to attack Bernie Sanders' health. Yeah, totally not corporate fucking astroturf
I think
shit.
it's very important that the Democrats nominate somebody that can beat Trump.
I don't feel as though Bernie Sanders would do well against Donald Trump.
I just don't think Bernie can beat Trump.
DMFI PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
But now that group is sending a mailer to Nina Turner. Nina Turner voted to divide us. Raise the minimum wage? No. Universal health care? No. Immigration reform? No. I'm voting hell no on the DNC platform. An absolute lie. Nina Turner, strong Medicare for all supporter. Nina Turner, excuse me, did I say Mina? Nina Turner, one of the strongest supporters of the $15 minimum wage. After 4 years of Trump, we came together to elect President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris to rebuild our country. Now it's time to unite behind them and build a better future for all our families. But Nina Turner tried to divide us. She voted against the entire 2020 Democratic Party platform, despite its support for raising the minimum wage, universal health care, and immigration reform. Nina Turner said voting for Joe Biden was like eating half a bowl of shit. Nina Turner helped elect Donald Trump in 2016 by refusing to endorse Hillary Clinton. And Turner was endorsed by an anti-public school organization founded by Trump Education Secretary Betsy DeVos. After Turner helped pass legislation that gutted Cleveland's public schools. Don't make a wrong turn with Nina Turner. And the thing that's really funny about this is these people support this shit. These are the pro-charter school people. These are the pro-charter school people. But they just lie. They don't give a shit.
Yes, that Nina Turner
they know their stuff's unpopular. And
against raising the minimum wage and universal health care. And also she's against immigration reform as well. And you can see all of this right here. They're basically explicitly saying Nina Turner doesn't support raising the minimum wage. How awful is that? Nina Turner doesn't even support immigration reform. How awful is that? Priorities that you care about the most. Now, to say that Nina Turner doesn't support universal health care or immigration reform or raising the minimum wage, it sounds wrong because it's a lie. Now, the reason why they're saying that she's against these things is because she voted against the 2020 Democratic Party DNC platform. Now, ask yourself, why would Nina Turner vote against this platform? Well, it's specifically because it didn't contain the things that she wants. Medicare for all. But rather than pointing that out, they're saying, well, you know what? She actually doesn't support universal health care, even though Shontel Brown literally is against Medicare for all. Well, Nina Turner is the one who's actually against Medicare for all, and Washington Post reporter Dave Weigel breaks it down, saying the letter claims that not supporting the 2020 DNC platform means you oppose universal health care. That's wildly dishonest. Sanders delegates, including Ro Khanna and Rashida Tlaib, opposed the platform explicitly because it did not contain Medicare for all. Now, he adds, not every Sanders delegate voted no. There was an understanding that this was a protest vote of a platform that was not going to pass anyway. And basically what they're trying to do is equate her with Donald Trump. Well, you see, Nina Turner said that voting for Joe Biden is like eating half a bowl of shit rather than a whole bowl of shit with Donald Trump. So, that's bad. She's really divisive. Americans came together to elect Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. So why is Nina Turner trying to be like Trump and divide Americans further? So they're trying to make it seem like she's Trumpian, when ironically, they're the ones who are being more Trumpian by explicitly lying about her positions. Nina Turner has been very consistent about her support for Medicare for all. It's been one of her main issues that she's running on in this race. But what do they do to counter that? Rather than just adopting Medicare for all themselves, they just lie and say, actually, Nina Turner doesn't support Medicare for all. And it's not just that the Democratic Party establishment is now coming out against Nina Turner. Now, the media is predictably joining the Democratic Party's smear campaign against Nina Turner. So the Daily Beast's Roger Sollenberger writes, Democratic star Nina Turner blows pledge not to take lobbyist money. Flip-flop. Bernie Sanders' 2020 national co-chair Nina Turner said she wouldn't take lobbyist donations. Guess what happened next? And he writes, according to Federal Election Commission records, however, the Nina Turner campaign reported a March 31st donation of $1,000 from the director of Amer Public Affairs, a firm Turner founded last September as an offshoot of DC-based lobbying shop Mercury Public Affairs. And on January 19th, 3 days after her tweet, Turner accepted $250 from a partner at Mercury per FEC filings. Okay, so they're very clearly scraping the bottom of the barrel here, but let's just accept the author's argument here, and let's agree. Nina Turner is a flip-flopper. She took 2 problematic donations, one from a firm that she founded and another from an individual at a firm that she's associated with. So that's $1,250 that are bad, that Nina Turner should probably return. And not to mention that $250 that she took, I mean, I've probably given more to Nina Turner myself. I'd have to check, but basically I signed up to donate $27 per month to Nina Turner. I've also bought merch and given her, $10 here, $15 there. So I mean, it's funny, like you can see how desperate they are, but let's just accept that Nina Turner flip-flopped on this position if we're being...
Okay, so chat, this is what's known as bad faith shit. Nina Turner had a couple people she personally knows that work in public affairs that gave her a small amount of money. Quite frankly, I don't think she should take that money. But she's not in her position she's in because of lobbyist money.
The donations from pro-Israel super PACs.
So this is what's happening, chat. Is Nina Turner... let's pull up the actual article. I love Michael. Thank you, Michael, for the point. I just wanted to contrast with how you should approach these things. Don't just repeat... don't just repeat the talking points that they want you to repeat. That Chantel Brown, it's a 2-person rape, blah, 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 blah. Give her credit. Don't do that. Oil and gas air funding super PAC attacking Nina Turner. Samson Energy's chair has donated $1.25 million to the Democratic Majority for Israel super PAC, which endorsed Turner's opponent, Chantel Brown. So this should be illegal, chat. But because of Citizens United, a single person can donate millions of dollars and illegally earmark it for a race. That's an illegal donation. You can't donate to one of these PACs and go, this is for the Nina Turner race. But if they never say that, it's just implicit donation. So this violates all campaign finance limits. The largest donor to the super PAC backing centrist Democratic candidate Chantel Brown in Ohio's 11th congressional district special election is an oil and gas executive who belongs to a billionaire family. Activists worry the donations could compromise Brown's support for progressive climate policy. Stacy Schusterman, heir and chair of Samson Energy, a fossil fuel company that owns at least 11 oil and gas wells in Wyoming, donated $1.55 million to Democratic Majority PAC for Israel in 2019 and 2020. A super PAC that has in turn spent over $660,000 on ads supporting Brown and attacking her Democratic primary opponent, Nina Turner. All right, chat. Let's watch that ad. Let's watch that Nina Turner ad. I wonder why Democratic Majority for Israel's negative attacks against Nina Turner for Congress have nothing to do with Israel. Dark money running dark ads. Yuck. Support Nina against those big money deceptive ads and send a message to shady dark money groups. PAC contributions are not dark money, chat. That just means political action committee, which includes unions. If I went and looked at Mark Pocan's donations, I guarantee you that it's overwhelmingly like unions and shit. God, these scumbag lying fuckers. Oh, thank you, Fantastic Matt. That's great. Here's Nina Turner's new ad. No, I don't want Nina's ad. I want the ad attacking Nina.
Chantel Brown. We've seen self-serving politicians like her.
Nina Turner, and I approve this message.
Not organized today,
Chantel
chat.
Brown. We've seen self-serving politicians like her before, using office to enrich friends, family, even themselves. On council, Brown voted to give more than $32 million in taxpayer contracts to a company connected to her boyfriend and family. She even voted to give herself a $7,000 pay raise for a part-time job on council. A slap in the face to working people. Chantel Brown, out for herself.
Let's watch it again. Beautiful.
Nina Turner, and I approve this message.
Chantel Brown. We've seen self-serving politicians like her before, using office to enrich friends, family, even themselves. On council, Brown voted to give more than $32 million in taxpayer contracts to a company connected to her boyfriend and family. She even voted to give herself a $7,000 pay raise for a part-time job on council. A slap in the face to working people. Chantel Brown, out for herself.
Now that I have it on
Country is
screen.
more polarized than ever, and Nina Turner is no help.
So the first thing they do is they show a bunch of Trump supporters and right-wing militia, and then they go right to Nina's face.
Country is more polarized than ever, and Nina Turner is no help. Unified Democrats? Turner said no. Support Clinton.
Hello, my name is Tim Black.
Not Nina Turner. Help Biden defeat Trump? Turner refused.
That's such a long interview.
Instead, Turner said voting for Biden was like eating. Turner even voted no on the entire Democratic platform, rejecting Biden's plan to build on Obamacare. Nina Turner for Congress? No thanks. The MFI PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
So these are the type of ads that they're running.
We must go ham on behalf of the American people.
Nina Turner knows how to work a crowd. She's a former Cleveland City Council member and Ohio State Senator, and on the 2020 presidential campaign trail, Turner stumped for Senator Bernie Sanders, energizing his supporters before he spoke. Now, Turner is continuing the causes of racial justice, Medicare for all, canceling student debt, and raising the minimum wage as she runs for U.S. Congress in Ohio. If she wins the special election for the seat, Turner will head to Washington as a champion of progressive causes. What were your biggest lessons from the Bernie campaign trail?
Conscious-minded people can shift things in politics. And the progressives have done that. I mean, we see more progressives than ever being elected across the country and across levels of government.
Rent prices.
Even in cases where progressives were running and they did not necessarily win the seat, we changed how politicians, especially on the Democratic side, had to talk about issues. Medicare for all would not still be being debated if it was not for that progressive movement. Canceling student debt, legalizing marijuana, you name it. It is because of the progressive movement that we're having real, robust debate about the type of country we want to be, about the type of country that we should be. So I want to encourage progressives or freedom fighters to keep on pushing. We are changing things.
How did you come up with the phrase, hello somebody?
Hello somebody was born. So unfortunately on the campaign, we got you talk about a scare, but when I got that call, the senator had a heart attack and we were not sure whether or not we were going to be able to keep on going. But Senator Sanders is something else, as we can see. So our first rally back was in Queens, New York. I had the distinct pleasure, as usual, to get out there and do what I do best, which is the people raise. I think it was almost 30,000 people out there. It was just a sight to behold. And as I was vibing with the crowd, I am a daughter of the Black church, and we have what is called the call and response. When the preacher says something, you got to talk back. You don't just sit there. That concept is also within jazz. And I just felt, just seeing the sea of faces out there. And I wanted them to know, like, I see you, we're together. So since I didn't know everybody's name, I said, hello, somebody. Hello, somebody. Just came out of nowhere, just, I think, from my soul into my heart and then into my head and out my mouth. And the White House says, hello, somebody, because everybody's somebody. I'm looking out there, this sea of beautiful, diverse faces saying, hello, somebody.
Will Democrats ever be as united in left-wing stances as Republicans are in right-wing ones?
The nation is there. I mean, when we look at the things that people really care about now, again, especially because of the pandemic, it is healthcare. It is increasing the minimum wage to $15 an hour. It is canceling student debt. When I started this journey with Senator Sanders in the latter part of 2015, people thought they're crazy. Why are they talking about this stuff? This doesn't make sense. And you fast forward to 2021, and those subjects, those
Thank you,
issues are what animate people's lives.
Oh, by the way, chat, before we continue with Nina, I just want to show you this.
All right.
Every single day.
I think
so. Just as the Republicans are determined,
I'm going to do that after the stream today,
especially those on the federal level, the Democratic Party, because we asked the American people to give us the presidency, check, give us the Senate by way of Georgia, check, help us keep the majority in the House of Representatives, check. So we got check, check, and check. Now we must go ham on behalf of the American people. That's it. Medicare for all, increasing the minimum wage, canceling student debt.
Have you always been able to express your authentic self in politics?
No. No, that came over time because there are these barriers that are put up for politicians, and I would say women, and especially Black women, to tone ourselves down, not to be our true selves. And so, yes, I have had to, over time, embrace that. And I think that embrace has certainly come with more age and more confidence in oneself. Just get to a point in your life where you're just not for the foolishness. It's a journey. It's a process to getting that kind of confidence to be, more times than not, authentically who you are in the public space.
If you had the ability to replace Hail to the Chief with any song you wanted, what would it be?
Instead of hailing the chief, let's put the chief on assignment. Let's give him assignment walking through the door. So I would replace Hail to the Chief with Mr. President by LL Cool J.
Dear Mr. President, with all due respect, wish we could have a conversation.
LL is really talking about the type of world that we should create and what presidents should be doing, from immigration to healthcare. I mean, that song was really very much ahead of its time.
How has America changed, and how hasn't it changed since the police killing of George Floyd?
The movement for Black Lives certainly has forced some policy changes all over this country. Laws have been changed, and that's a beautiful thing. They didn't just change them because people with power woke up and said, you know what, I need to fix that. It was changed because of the bubbling up of the grassroots, of the masses, of the activist class getting out there and making the demand. On the other hand, we still have a very long way to go. Far too many Black men and Black women are still being gunned down unarmed. We're nibbling around the edges with some of these policies. We just got to come straight at it. We have to analyze the system of policing and admit that it was never designed to protect and serve the Black community. It was designed to surveil, to hunt people in the Black community. And
Prosper, that's tier one.
Change. The George Floyd murder reminded me, when I was watching this police officer with just pure hatred in his eyes, at least from my perspective, continue to put his knee on George Floyd's neck. It reminded me of lynching. White people used to gather and bring their kids and take pictures. We got the receipts. The 21st century version of that is what this police officer did to George Floyd. It is a reminder that Black lives are still seen in this country as somehow less than, and it is reflected in policing, and it's also reflected in our politics. It's reflected in education. It's reflected in the wealth gap. We need to fix this in every single system.
Will Medicare for All ever be a reality in the United States, and why isn't it now?
I believe that Medicare for All will absolutely be a reality in the United States of America. The original concept of Medicare was supposed to be Medicare for All before bad politics got in the way. And so we're bumping up against those same bad politics, the insurance industry in particular, who control members of Congress. I call them owner donors. The owner donors are in control, and that's the reason why we don't have it at the moment. But there's an awakening about this, the 21st century awakening about this, and we are going to get it. Not going to happen because a politician got an epiphany or two. It is going to happen because the American people are making the demand. When you have about 87 million people pre-COVID uninsured or underinsured. And since COVID, that number has jumped to almost 100 million people. This pandemic has revealed it is insane to have healthcare, number one, commodified, number two, connected to one's job, because anything can happen at any given moment that is beyond our individual control. So why not join other industrialized nations, being the hegemon nation that we are, and make sure that universal health care is had by all in the United States of America.
If you could have an hour with the senators who voted against a $15 minimum wage, what would you tell them and where would you take them?
I would ask them to walk a mile in the shoes of people who are among the working poor. The term working and poor should not go together, but it is a concept and it is real in the United States of America. And because they themselves derive their money, their income, their health care from tax dollars of the people. And then at the same time could be as brazen and heartless, because it would have been bad before the pandemic, but especially heartless during the pandemic to deny a $15 an hour minimum wage increase, which is the floor. It is already the compromised position. It is not the ceiling.
What have you missed the most during the pandemic, and what are you excited to get back to?
I miss the hugs, the handshakes, dapping them up. That's important. You know, the human connection in that way. I mean, there's some science behind the hug. There's one report that I read that talked about if you get 5 hugs a day, you're off to a great start.
5 hugs.
It's just something about that embrace that gives you a certain type of energy. And I miss that energy. I got a list of people that I want to hug.
Pretty poggers, chat. We do politics here every morning starting at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific. You can watch us here on Twitch. We're the morning guy. The morning politics guy. Politics Frogs in every single day, same time, 10 a.m., day in, day out, and we carry you through your morning and early afternoon politics needs. And if you need more, Mike from PA, we have a YouTube channel. We talked about suburbs, the My Pillow guy, Ted Cruz. We talked about DSA. Amazing. Making fun of Tim Pool. Amazing. Look at all of these amazing videos. Get in there, watch them. We have me on Twitter. You got to follow me on Twitter, chat. I'm at 20,614 subs. That means I got like 40 followers on Twitter in the last day. You can do better than that. You can do better than that. Go follow us on Twitter. And of course, join the Discord, where we have an incredible community of left-wing streamers. We have left-wing community. We talk about the stream. We talk about politics. There's gaming content. It's a really awesome, supportive place. Direct action, mutual aid, and you can just let off some steam. And also, you can help produce the show. One of the things I do is I look at the links that are put into the news content suggestions chat room on the Discord. Join the Discord. Come hang out. And maybe what you want me to talk about will be part of the next show.